I love nature, with all of its creatures. All except one, the emerald ash borer, is ruining ash trees all over North America. And guitar players know, swamp ash is obviously the best bodywood. Fight me in the comments! Excuse me. So these bugs are an invasive species with no natural predators, and it's gotten so bad that in 2021 Fender announced no more swamp ash in production line guitars, because there's simply not enough instrument grade pieces left. So I flipped out and secured for myself these amazing pieces of roasted swamp ash, and we're gonna preserve them forever in a nice transparent finish. But which one should go first? And it's the Stratocaster! Besides having a nice wood grain, the roasted swamp ash is exceptionally light, and by comparison this body I got from Crimson Guitars feels like it's made of stone. So at first I was testing out 3 different wood finishing products, because there might be a difference in what they make the wood look like, maybe one is darker or lighter. I thought they all kind of looked the same, so I decided to go with the Tru Oil filler and sealer, because the main finish will be Tru Oil and this filler and sealer is designed to go with it. But first I'm cleaning the body with mineral spirits, and here I'm pouring on the filler and sealer product. Also I'm adding some powdered pumice to the mix. This should clog up the pores of the wood so you can fill it faster. This powder is white, but you won't see it once it's mixed in with the finishing oil. Here we can see some darker lines on the wood from where I was dripping the sealer. Luckily these lines disappeared, this was only visible in the beginning when it was wet. Now I'm doing the front and I'm adding some pumice powder again. And I'm always wearing gloves, because even if this sealer seems harmless, there's always some chemicals in there and your skin will absorb anything. So always wear some gloves. After the first 2 layers of sealer, I was sanding over the body with a sanding sponge. The sponge is good to get around curvy areas. And I sand everywhere until it's matte or grey looking. Then I wipe off the dust and I apply more sealer. And now it happened that nothing came out of the sealer bottle anymore, so I used some pincers to pry open the bottle, because it was getting empty anyways. And I had enough to finish the layer. Now let's work on the neck. So at first I clean it with mineral spirits to make sure that there's no grease or fingerprints on it. And then I apply a Tru Oil that was thinned with mineral spirits. Then it goes on really smooth. I always cover the whole area and then wipe off the excess immediately. And I'm using paper shop towels to wipe on and off the Tru Oil, or basically any lint-free cloth will do. It's a roasted maple neck, so it can be left unfinished, but adding a layer of oil gives the wood a much deeper look. I've added 2 thin layers of oil in total on the neck. And according to word of mouth, this is how they do it at the USA factory of Music Man guitars. So most of the necks there are hand rubbed with Tru Oil, and they do the same wipe on, wipe off method. Oil finishes, they can be a bit tacky or sticky in the end, but with the wipe on, wipe off method, this never happens. Then on the back of the neck, I've also added a layer of the Tru Oil wax. This just makes it feel nice for the hands when playing the guitar. Then I added the Warmoth decal stickers. Body and neck, it's all made by Warmoth. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. They simply have the most options on which frets, which neck profile, and so on. And to make the stickers blend in a little bit, I add 2 layers of oil, but just on the headstock. So on the body we're done with the sealer, so I'm level sanding again, or scuff sanding rather, with the sanding sponge, and I wipe off the dust. and then I apply the first layer of Tru Oil. And I'm using a paintbrush to get the Tru Oil into the hard to reach areas. And here I'm doing the front. And also on the body I would wipe off the excess immediately. Then I continued adding about 3 Tru Oil layers per day. This took several days until I was happy with how glossy or how deep the finish was. And in total I guess it was around 20 layers of oil. Then I started to apply shielding paint. And also the single coils I got don't have a base plate, so it's good to have shielding paint underneath. So here's all the hardware that we're gonna use. The single coils are Bareknuckle Bootcamp Old Guard pickups. The Old Guard are the weakest in output from the Bootcamp series. And supposedly weak Strat pickups give you the nicest bell-like chime. We have Gotoh locking tuners and a Graphtec string tree in case we need it. Here I'm putting a black permanent marker on the pole pieces. This didn't last, I ended up putting black lacquer on those. I was going for a stealth look. Here I'm installing the tuners or machine heads, drilling the holes. And here's what the body looked like before going to the buffing station. I have 2 different polishing wheels, a harder and a softer one, and also 2 different compounds, a cutting compound and a polishing compound. So first is the cutting compound, and I make sure to always keep the body moving, not to melt through the finish. And before moving on, I remove the cutting compound residue from the body, and then I start using the softer wheel and the polishing compound. So here's what it looks like after polishing. I think I could have skipped using the polishing wheels. I guess only if I would have level sanded the body, then it would have needed some polishing. But for this oil finish, I thought level sanding isn't even necessary. Here I'm adding copper foil to the back of the electronics plate. Here I'm installing the bridge studs. I hammer them in with this wood block to avoid hitting the guitar. Same goes for the output jack. The body came with pre-drilled holes for the vibrato claw, but they didn't fit the Wilkinson tram that I had. So I had to fill the holes, and I was drilling new ones with these super long drills. And then I was drilling some holes for the strap pins and the holes for the pickup screws. Then I realized that the 3-way switch didn't fit. That's a 10-way switch, which is slightly larger than a 5-way switch. So I had to make the cavity slightly larger with a Dremel. Then put on Tru Oil again and put shielding paint over it. And then I put in the pickups, I put foam underneath the pickups, and then I was doing the soldering. With the 3-way switch you're getting 10 different sounds, but the wiring is actually quite easy. Then I was adding these dark brown Strat wood knobs. I attached the neck, and it was time for a test drive. so the old one is certainly a bit heavier, and on the new one I still need to fine-tune the setup a little bit, but overall I think it came out great. I'm very happy. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. Tune in next time where we will compare Stingray bass pickups.